Hello everyone, it's the FPL Grandmaster back again with another video for you all today. Gotta get this one out quite quickly ahead of double game week 26. We're gonna do it a little bit differently this week. I feel because it's a double, it's unlikely people are gonna want a wild card. So what I'll start with is how I did in game week 25. Then we can take a look at some of the expected price changes and some of the transfers in the transfer market currently and whether I think they're good or not. And then we can take a look at my team for double game week 26. So first and foremost, game week 25. Can't help but feel like kind of got out of jail with this one in the end. Captain Gabriel, of course, he got the 6 points, close to DEFCON, but didn't quite get it. Bruno with the goal late on in the game against Spurs really put me in a bit of a difficult position. And with Haaland still as the most captained, I knew it was going to be quite tough. I just about managed to stay on a green arrow at the end of Saturday, thanks to Bruno Guimaraes. And then Lacroix put me in a fairly secure enough position to just about hang on to the green arrow. I got, I think, 4 points above the safety score this week, but Haaland, he certainly made it difficult. And if he'd not been fouled by Szoboszlai, he would have probably scored that goal, and I think that might have just about done it. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I've got away with it this week. A green arrow, I'll gladly take that. Couple 100,000 places up in the ranks again this week. I think it's about 2.6k, sorry, 2.6 million, I should say. Maybe 2.5, I'm not really sure, but around that range. So it's good ahead of a double game week, of course, to have that with the bench. Nothing really to report about them. It's good though to see quite a few double-digit returns this week. Rice was my transfer in, came in for Saka. He got DEFCON, kept a clean sheet, so pretty happy with that overall. And that's a pretty good week overall. I knew it was going to be quite tight. I talked about it last week. The margins looked quite small, and maybe in hindsight that should have stopped me from taking the risk on Gabriel. But I thought it's worth a punt, and sometimes things they can just not go how you plan them. But got away with it in the end, so not much to complain about. In terms of the suggested, or I should say, the potential price rises this game week. Looks like quite a few going up. I'll talk through the ones go. I'll talk through. I think the ones who I think are going to be more key. Gyökeres, not really sure about moving for him. I mean, he scored twice, but he came off the bench, so rotation kind of makes me a bit concerned. Same with Palmer. He did score a hat trick, but two pens, you're not going to get that every game. I know he's the penalty taker, so that's handy, but you won't. And he came off at 60, so I'm not completely convinced he's got a secure enough minutes to take a chance on him at the moment. Zubimendi, you could do on a punt, I guess. It's up to you. I think most people will have triple Liverpool this week. Sorry, triple Arsenal this week. It's been a long day, guys. But yeah, I think a lot of people will have triple Arsenal in double game week 26. So I mean, you could take a punt on him. I think it's perfectly fine. And Bumo looks good. He's leading the line a lot for United at the moment. So I think it's a fine player to take a chance on. I think he's quite secure for minutes as well. David Raya, I think he's a good option. And if you need to, if you're worried about the blank at 31, he rotates quite well. If you have another goalkeeper, you can just bench him, and it's just a lot easier that way. Kukurea, I'm not really sure. Not much to say there. Rice, I think a lot of people will have him, and he's a good option. Anderson, he's ticking over just fine. So not much to report there. And then Gabriel and Timber, I think if you don't have Gabriel at this point, I mean, a lot of price rises already, but I think you've got to go for him. He's going to be very popular, probably a big captain and a candidate for a triple captain as well. So I think you've got to go for it with him. With Timber, it's a bit less, I mean, certain. I think his minutes should be fine. I don't think there'll be a problem, but for his price, you kind of also want the attacking returns, and he hasn't really been doing it as of late. So it's just something to keep in mind. In terms of the price drops, there's probably not going to be much report, but I think if you haven't got off Foden already, I think you really need to get rid of him. All the other players here, I mean, Saka's probably the only one of note in terms of who's going down in price. Yeah, I mean, just keep an eye on the press conferences, but I don't expect him to be back until the Spurs game in game week 27. At best, it might be the Wolves game, but you in a double game week, you want a player that's going to play both games, so I wouldn't really go there if I were you. But yeah, we can also take a look at some of the top transfers this week. They kind of coincide with the price rises anyway. I mean, most of these seem fine. I think in a double, if you haven't got triple Arsenal, I think that's your priority. I wouldn't go for your crest, to be fair. I think at least double defense, I would say. You could go with a single and like two in midfield, but with the amount of rotation in the Arsenal midfield, it's just not an ideal move, I think. Mbeumo looks good. That's someone I think you can consider if you've got your triple Arsenal already. João Pedro is, I mean, he's done it back to back now, 2 assists in each of the last two, so four in total. But I mean, again, it's just with minutes, you just don't know, and he's not going to keep doing that, you know. Like 45 against West Ham, and then 74 against Wolves. It's like far from ideal, and I think it's just not reliable enough for me to go there. With Zubimendi, it's a punt you can take. Timber, I think a lot of people will move for him because he's probably the Arsenal defender you don't have. Raya, I think, is also a fine choice. I think that's pretty much everyone here that's off the note that I haven't like already spoken. I mean, I've spoken about most of them in depth, but yeah. In terms of the transfers out though, Wilson. I mean, let's check his fixtures. Yeah, I'd probably. I think that's a fair move. City, Sunderland, Spurs, West Ham, Forest. Not ideal, I'd say. Thiago, I'm not really sure if I'd like get rid of Thiago. I mean, the Arsenal game is tough. I'll give him that. I'm guessing a lot of people are upgrading to your Chris, but like after that, the fixtures look all right. So I think I would just bench him for the week if I were you. But of course, like double game weeks, sometimes you want to take a punt. Saka makes sense. James, he's just his injuries. You just don't know how to keep up with them. Surprised to see a lot of people transferring Bruno Guimaraes shot, but I mean, with the minutes, maybe that's the concern there. But yeah, that's just some of my thoughts on transfers this week, the popular transfers in and out. We can now look at my team for this double game week 26. So in terms of this, I mean, pretty much unchanged from last week. The only transfer is to bring in Timber for Dorgu, which I think is most likely still the transfer I'd make. There's a bit of debate for me right now whether I bench Bruno Guimaraes or I bring in Krupi. I'm not really sure because I mean Everton at home this season haven't been amazing like by any means. So like I could see Krupi like potentially getting something. But this I mean and the other thing with Bruno Guimaraes is he really does it at home. Like when he's away it's not as certain, but at the same time it's Spurs. It's Spurs have just been terrible. So maybe I just keep it like this. You'll also notice triple captain on Gabriel. Unlikely to change that, I think. I mean, there is a part of me that thinks maybe you could go for Rice as an alternative, but I mean, I think he'll hit DEFCON in at least one of the games, so it's like, can you get an attacking return as well? That's the real question. But with two games to get something, you wouldn't put it past Rice to get a few returns at least. But I think Gabriel's already going to be the standout captain this week, and with the triple captain, you're just looking to maximize your points. And I think at minimum, you expect Arsenal to keep two clean sheets in these games. Really, I mean, it's possible Brentford put at least one past with Thiago playing how he's playing, and they've got a couple good attacking players, with Tara as well, another one at Brentford. But I think you really expect the two clean sheets, so already that puts you at about 12 points. And then if he is DEFCON Gabriel, then it's just more points and a very comfortable and very good triple captain, I think, in the end. So a lot of people I will assume are going to go for the triple captain because he just looks like the standout. I guess you could save it for the double game week with City and Palace, which is rumored to be in 33. That is an option. Then you could go for Haaland there, but of course the issue then is you don't know if the title's wrapped up. Right now, like everyone's putting out their full strength teams all the time, so I feel like with the triple captain, I'd like to just get it out of the way. And this is a very good double game week, I think, for the Arsenal defense, and that's where I'm probably gonna go. But yeah, I hope you benefit from the video. A little bit different this time. Had to get it out quickly, of course, because of tight deadlines with FPL. But please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And let me know if there's any questions you have about your teams, any transfers you're making. And if you're playing a chip, if you need any advice, or like we're deliberating who to like triple captain or who to bring in on a wild card, for example, if you need that stuff. Yes, I've already said transfers. But yeah, that's everything from me for now. Hope you all enjoyed and see you in the next one.